Okay, I am happy to report to you guys that my project car, the big Naughtiac, the white 2000 GTP four-door car, is finally receiving some love. I am going to be ordering a bunch of parts for it to start on making it somewhat mobile with our skid steer so I can get it on a working state up on jack stands. So as you guys can see, in front of you is my Rock Auto shopping cart. This is where I start all of my projects. I say, hey, what's the car need? And piece by piece, normally literally piece by piece, not a big cart like this, I get the parts I need. So we'll start at the top and we'll go down through the parts. I'll describe them and why I want them. So to start with, we got a Mevotech rear wheel bearing. I'm going to get two of those. Mevotech has been fantastic. I have their products on some of my cars. They're held up great. The wheel bearings in particular are very good build quality. They come with all the hardware if you order the not cheap ones, but even those are probably just fine. They're roughly 40 bucks a piece. I can't argue with that price. If you are listening this via audio, the part number is H512150BTX/Supreme. So, and they're just the rear wheel bearings. So down below that, you can see the two calipers I'm going to get. They're just stock, and they're coated for rust prevention since we live in the Rust Belt. They're roughly 35 bucks a piece. They're Cardone remanufactured units. I have no problem with remanufactured. To be honest with you, I may or may not go with the Camaro brake upgrade in the future. But for now, I just want to get the car mobile and with some braking power. So this thing's not going to be terribly powerful off the bat, so stock will be just fine. So I don't care about the core charges. I ain't sending anything back. So they're roughly 50 bucks a piece with the core charge. So, and the left and right respectively for the rear. So to go with that, we have a Dorman. They call it a proportioning valve. I didn't know what these were initially, but on the rear brake lines for most of the Grand Prix, and I can only speak for the Grand Prix, each side has this, and this is to restrict the brake fluid pressure, I should say, the line pressure in your brake lines, so that your front wheels lock up first when you're stopping, and not your rear wheels. With think of it as akin to sliding out on ice with a rear wheel drive vehicle. These are kind of important. If you delete one, delete both. I can say that. We ran into this issue on my daily where one side was leaking. We couldn't find replacements at the time, so we just cut one out, and if you're on ice or you brake really hard, it'll pull to that one side where the proportioning valve isn't. So I'm going to keep them on there, but that's just me. That's just a me thing. So for two of those, it's roughly 33 bucks. The part number, if I didn't mention it, was 905952. Surprisingly, Napa and O'Reilly's couldn't find this part, and I still need to find the one side fitting. So you have normal brake line fitting for 3/16 inch brake line, and then another one, it's slightly bigger and it has a more rounded end, but I don't know where I'm going to find that. So if I can reuse the old ones, I will. Otherwise, I'll have to source a part, and I'll put a comment in this video with the part numbers I find and where I found them at. So alright, below that is another Mevotech product. It is a stabilizing bar end link bushing. Basically connects your rear sway bar to your struts. Don't cheap out on these. I'm not going to get adjustable ones. This car is going to be more of a daily cruiser at high speed, so I'm not going to adjust it. But these ones have greasers, or the grease fittings, and I love those to death. I can keep it well maintained. Like I said, Mevotech's good products, love them. So for two of those, they're roughly $31.79 a piece, so $63.58. The paint, it's pre-painted a tan color. I don't mind too much. You're not going to see it with the dust and stuff on my road. So, and they're heavy duty. Below that, we have our rotor and brake selection. I'm going with dynamic friction rotors and pads just because these are coated for rust. So if any of you don't know what that does, basically the entire rotor is coated, and then as you brake, you break it in, the pads will squeeze away the coating and then just expose where the stopping power is going to be. So where it squeezes the rotor, that's the only thing that's exposed to the atmosphere. So I want that. I don't like seeing rust, and this car's going to be parked a little bit most of the year. I'm only going to really use it summer and spring. So this will be a good one, and that part number is 451252026. It's a GeoKit 5000 with ceramic pads. It's for the rear of the car, obviously, and it's roughly 90 bucks. So we'll see how they hold up. I hope they don't warp really fast. Otherwise, I'll just swing to O'Reilly's and pick up a different set. And finally, the suspension. I have tested a lot of strut assemblies, complete, of course. I don't repair my own at this point. But Gabriel, for the 16-inch rims on your GTs and your GTP cars, they hold the ride height equal. So it's not, you're not having the Carolina squat like on my daily. I'm not trying to go with that. I'm not a big fan of that. But these hold up surprisingly well. They're relatively cheap, and they're good quality. So they hold the rear up. Like I said, it's a big deal to me because I hate seeing it. I live in Nebraska. Our roads are terrible. I don't like the cars bottoming out. So, and I'm not going to go with coilovers or anything like that. I'm not interested in that at this point, especially not for this car. So this is going to be one I drive. I want to be comfortable driving. And aside from ZZP front and rear sway bars, that is basically it for suspension. So I'll probably use Gabriel's on the front, but like I think I've said in a previous video on this car, I'm starting in the rear with these parts, and we'll go from there. I want to get it, at least the rear part, mobile, so that's what all these parts are going to enable me to do. I'm going to redo the brake lines with stainless steel 3/16" brake line. So that way, that doesn't rust. I hate doing brake work, so I'm going to do it once, do it the right way, and be done with it. But then, when all this is complete and I have tires on the rear, I can lift the car up with our skid steer from the front, and then start working on the underside of that, get an engine cradle put in there, or a transmission cradle, subframe, whatever you want to call it, redo the bushings, get the HVAC system fixed, all the little wiring stuff, then go through the interior, and new whatever needs replacing. It's got a funky smell in there because it's been wet before at the yard, but until then, this is where I'm starting. And the total price as of recording, with shipping and tax, is $700 or $728.40 shipped and taxed. That's a pretty good amount of savings because I'm going to do it myself. I have the service repair manuals. If any of you question my repair ethics, we'll go by the book. So roughly everything needs about anywhere from 80 to 110 foot-pounds of pressure. So if that, I think the rear strut towers only need 40 for the 3 nuts that hold them on, so that's good. And that's pretty much wraps this little video up. So I'm going to be starting a playlist for each project car as I develop it. I know I've been kind of slow. You've seen them in general videos. Now I'm going to kind of start doing car by car videos as I get parts in and then as I put them on. So it's kind of freezing rain out right now because it's January 2023. So happy New Year's, everyone. Belated New Year's. But yeah. So that is the start of this project car. I'm really excited to get this car up and going. I will be honest, I seen this car at the scrapyard. I fell in love instantly. It was everything my current white SE was not. It had all the features. I think everything except the disc player, or the disc changer in the back, the 12 disc changer. And I'm going to add that. So take care. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them down below. Like I said, I'll update the parts list and their part numbers and where I found them in a pinned comment. Hopefully this information is useful. Thank you for checking out my video.